Welcome, everyone. And we still have a few people coming in, so we're going to wait a few minutes, or a few seconds, I should say. But I just want to say welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Dr. Sturm, and I am the principal of the International School of Prague. It's my second year, and it has been an interesting year. But we are so excited to welcome everyone to the upper school. This is a meeting where you'll get to meet a lot of important people that are going to be key to your future next year in the upper school. You'll meet both of our counselors, Miss Manfredi and Miss Eischen, Miss Ercolino, our IB coordinator. You'll meet Mr. Monks, and you probably already know him from the activities office, and Mr. Rops, who's head of our math department. So lots of opportunity to meet different people. You'll also have an opportunity to ask questions. So if you don't mind putting your questions in the chat, we're going to answer questions at the end of our presentation. And hopefully we can get to everybody's question. And the other piece is this is being recorded, and we are going to email the link out for this presentation at the end of the presentation. So you'll get to watch it again if you like, and we'll encourage you to do that because there's a lot of information to take in. And this is a big step for everyone. Literally, you'll be coming up the stairs to the upper school when we'll all be back in person, and we're certainly excited for that. So sit back, and as the questions come up, just put them in the chat. Ms. Ercolino, go ahead with our next slide. Well, I do remember myself when I was going from middle school to high school, and it's a combination of being both kind of nervous, kind of scared, that's part of it, but also super excited. And that's just par for the course. This is a big step, but it's such a wonderful opportunity because there's so many cool things that you can avail yourselves of in the upper school. And what we want you to know, and for the students and parents in the room, that we're here to help you. We're here to answer questions. The people you're going to meet tonight are the people who will be your point of contact. But please ask questions because with all of the excitement and nerves, we know that you'll be thinking of questions as over the next few months. Please reach out and ask those questions because this is an exciting time. But one of the things we want to remind you of is that many students have come before you. And with that, I think I will turn it over to my colleagues, our counselors, Ms. Eischen and Ms. Manfredi. Please take it away.
Hi, good evening, grade 8 students and parents. My name is Ms. Manfredi, and I am one of the 2 new upper school counselors. You will meet Ms. Eischen later in the presentation. We split the alphabet in half. So if your last name begins with the letter A to L, you will be on my caseload. And if your last name begins with the letters M through Z, you will be with Ms. Eischen. So there's a picture of us both. And we really look forward to working with you and the parents of grade 8 to help make sure this transition is smooth. Next slide. So one really nice resource that students and parents can take a look at now is the upper school counseling website, which right now is definitely a nice resource for students and parents to go to. We cover academic counseling, personal counseling, and we also work with students on their post-ISP planning, what it is they're going to do once they graduate. So this is a resource. There's a link here in the slide for you to access the resource. And we do want you to know that this is a work in progress. Ms. Eischen and myself are currently building this up to be a robust place to gain information. And we really encourage students and parents to, as this will be sort of the go-to place for all academic, personal, and post-high school planning. Next slide, please. So our roles here at ISP, go ahead and do another click, Miss, there we go. So we are sort of, I always say a bit of the one-stop shop in comprehensive counseling. We are most foremost your advocate. So we are students advocate. We not only help solve problems for students, but we help students learn how to solve their own problems. So whether it's something that they're dealing with academically, emotionally, socially, if they're, wanting to explore themselves a bit more, we can be that person who can help them through that. We also work closely with the students in their academic planning. So as of right now, students in the next couple of weeks are going to be choosing their grade 9 course electives. So we help advise and we help to make sure that students are working toward their ISP diploma, and we'll get to that in the next slide. Well-being. So again, well-being is one of the pillars of ISP, and we are here to make sure that every student is being able to access their best selves, whether that be at home, whether that be at school, whether that be with their friendships, the relationships they have with the adults in their lives, the teachers in their lives. We're here to coach them and help them through that. And then, like we said, starting in grade 9, working all the way to the end of grade 12, and even as students are alumni of ISP, we are there to assist and to guide and to walk with students through life after ISP. So just quickly, this is a transition. This is a transition into upper school. This is a transition into, as you heard our student speakers talk about, more freedom, more flexibility, but also probably some more academic responsibility. So we provide support also in advisory, in which, very similar to the middle school advisory, students in upper school are also assigned to an advisor, and they will meet in their advisory. We help students understand our role, how we can assist them, how we can be a resource to them. We help them through adjusting to high school and what that means. We have several assessments that we run through our database, which is My Learning, which students will be brought into in grade 9, for them to identify their learning strengths, some of their weaknesses, areas where they can improve. We help them to study, to develop good study habits and techniques, which might be different from middle school and from primary school. We check in and have them monitor their mental health and wellness. Again, we assist with academic planning, letting them know the courses that are available to them. And this is really the time in the beginning of grade 9 when students start to build their upper school transcript. And this transcript is reflective of the end of year grades that students will receive in every course that they take at ISP. This transcript is a permanent record and could be used, most likely, to be sent to universities upon request. So grade 9 is when this transcript is started. The good news is grade 9, you can start brand new with a clean slate. Anything that you've attained in middle school, come August, you guys can wipe that away, or you can continue to just go on the trajectory that you've been doing. So clean slate, always good to know. Just some words of advice from Ms. Aisha and myself. We've been around schools for many, many years. And often we hear grade 11, grade 12 students, if I had only done this back then, boy, would I have really been able to make an impact. So we always say to grade 9 students, yes, it's a clean slate. It's also a way to start fresh and to study, to develop some more productive habits towards the things that you want to do, not just in academics as well. There's one thing that I've realized for certain since I've started here at ISP is that students, all they need to do is ask for help and they will get it. Teachers, your counselors, your advisors, our learning support team, our EAL support team, everybody is thirsty to help students find their way. So you need to advocate for yourself. And once you do that, you will find a lot of people ready to support you. Communicate, get involved. Academics for sure is something that you want to keep as a priority, but we want to help you to stay balanced. And we want you to continue those things that you love that you're doing in middle school. And there'll be other ones that come along the way that you're going to want to explore. We want you to do best. We want you to work hard. But we also want you to take care of yourself. And if there's anything we've learned from our COVID pandemic and our distance learning, is that our health is most important for us to do anything productive that we want. So you guys are going to be very good at knowing what your limits are and how much further you can push yourselves. So those are the things that we're going to help students to realize in high school. I mentioned the ISP diploma. Now, every student at ISP will be allowed and will be encouraged to work towards earning this diploma. Our diploma at ISP is accredited from the United States of America. So students who graduate from ISP will be equivalent to students graduating from an American high school. In order to do that, students have to accumulate a certain number of credits in certain areas. So you'll see in the blue squares, it's broken down how many credits students need in each subject area. You'll see English as number 4. It's the highest course that you need credits for. So students will definitely need to take English every year from grade 9 to grade 12. Your elective credits are going to be credits you're going to be choosing this year, and they're going to count towards your diploma. You need 2 in art and IT, and then you need 2 in social studies, 2 in sciences. In addition to the blue credits, you also need to obtain 5 elective credits. Now, those elective credits can come in elective areas such as the arts and music or drama, or they can be used in the extra science, social studies, language, and math courses that you take, for a total of 23 credits. Now, the way our courses and our schedule is set up, it is set up for students to achieve much more than 23 credits. So as long as you are taking a full load of courses every year, you may have in grade 10, 11, and 12 a couple free blocks, and we incorporate that into your schedule. You will graduate with enough credits to earn your American accredited high school diploma. Another excellent resource for our students and families is the Upper School Program of Studies. Now, you've all been sent this link in order to explore, to choose your elective courses, but this again is filled with a lot of resources for students and parents about IB courses, about the expo, the elective expo that's going to be happening in advisory for students in grades 8 and in grades 9. We have links to the IBO website where parents and students can start to get information about the International Baccalaureate Diploma, as well as the diploma that I just spoke about, which is the American Accredited Diploma. Next slide. And this is just a screenshot of the Google form that students have already received. We'll be sending an additional link in the email following this presentation. This is the course, this is the form that students will choose their courses for grade 9. Ms. Eishen and myself will be reviewing these once they're submitted. And if we have any questions or there's any concerns, or if you have any questions or concerns about your elective choices or your recommendations, then you can reach out to your counselor. Over to Ms. Ercolino.
Yes, hello everybody. So I'm the IB diploma coordinator, and I just want to say hello, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about modern language options. There's really not too much to worry about here, but we do want to just alert you. I want to alert you to a couple of things that could have long-term implications for IB later on in grade 11 and 12. So let's just start with looking at the slide. So it's a little confusing to figure out where you are on it, but basically the left hand column here where it says middle school is kind of where you are. And typically, students attain at least level 1 in middle school with whatever language they're studying. So if you read across the table, starting at that left-hand column, you can see what typically happens. So after your middle school experience of languages, you typically get placed into upper school level 2 of whatever language it is, French, German, Spanish, Mandarin. And then you could proceed on to level 3 in grade 10. And then in grades 11 and 12, you could study that language at what is known as language B level. And what makes it confusing is that you see in parentheses the Common European Framework designation of A1, A2, B1.1, etc. And then when you get into IB, they have their own designations for language, which confusingly are also A and B, but they don't mean the same thing. So I'm sorry for the confusion. It's just kind of what we're stuck with. But for the vast majority of you, this is not a difficult decision or anything you need to really think about that much. You're in a particular language and you're going to continue with it in high school. Sometimes students enter our middle school, let's say in grade 8, or maybe they haven't been taking languages for whatever reason. And in grade 8, they maybe only took 1 year of that particular language, or they haven't had any at all. And so that's kind of plan B. You're going to come into grade 9 and you're going to start at level 1 of the language. So French 1, Spanish 1, German 1, etc. And that's because a year of middle school language, it is not the equivalent of a year of high school language. The high school language courses go a little bit faster and cover a lot more, so that even if you had 1 year in grade 8, it's not enough to get you into year 2 in high school. So you'll be in level 1. The first part of it will be a little bit of review, but I think you'll find you'll be challenged right away. And then in grade 10, you're going to take year 2. And then, depending on how that goes and what your goals are, you would probably go into the IB B level at what's known as the standard level. So that should lead pretty easily to that. A lot of times students want to supplement that with extra study. So summer programs, it's not a bad thing to spend a few weeks in France or Spain for the summer. So students really enjoy doing that, and just to make sure they're ready for IB. Now, sometimes students decide, well, I did 1 year of a language in middle school, but for various reasons, which your counselor would talk to you about, either Mr. Bogley now or the counselor that you'll have next year, Ms. Aishan or Ms. Manfredi, there may be reasons why you wouldn't take a language in grade 9. You would start in grade 10 with level 1, and then you would go on to what's known as ab initio language in the IB program. And so that ab initio means from the beginning. And so you would be at a beginner's level when you finish grade 12, and you would take that subject from IB instead. And that could mean that you have no additional language in grade 9. Some of you are going to be thinking about your native language, because you may be aware that in the IB program, you take 2 languages. As Ms. Manfredi just explained, everybody takes English every year. So that's going to be one of your IB languages. But many students would like to include their mother tongue as one of their languages in the IB program. And that could be because you just want to make sure that you have, a high school education in your home language. Very, very understandable reason. Could be you want to go back to that country and a university program in that language. So you want to have that in your IB program. In that case, please think about that if you want to do that. I have 2 recommendations. One is you should be currently and have been studying your home language in addition to school. So a lot of people take after school classes or online classes to keep up, and you should continue to do that up until the IB program starts. It's also possible that you will not pursue an IB diploma, which again, it's an option we have for all of our students. And in that case, you don't really need to worry about what level language you're in, because you don't have to fit into any of the IB categories. So I know that's quite confusing to all of a sudden start thinking about this and throw IB into the mix. Like I said, for most of you, you're going to continue with the language that you have had in middle school, and it's not going to be an issue. You don't have to worry about these other rows on this table. But if you are just starting a new language, or you think you want to start a new language, you're thinking about mother tongue, then those are things to definitely bring up with your counselor. Feel free to email me questions about it as well, or Dr. Sturm, or any of us it'll get directed to the right place, and we'll help you out with that. Okay, I don't know who's next.
Mr. Rops.
Mr. Rops.
All right, you can go to the next slide there. Great. Hi, I'm Dave Rops. As Dr. Sturm had mentioned, I'm in charge of the head of the Department of the Maths in the upper school. And the upper school, as Yana said in her video, it's been differentiated with 3 different classes to really fit the kids' needs where they are, to really make a valiant attempt to challenge the kids every day, so it's not it's not too challenging for them that they can't access it, and it's not too easy so that they're bored. And so by breaking it up into 3 different classes, we've really done a good job of having kids find their best fit math class. If you can go to the next slide there, Karen. The next slide is all about the courses that are available. So on Friday, you're going to be getting a letter from the teachers, so to speak. I think it's officially coming via Matt Smith. And on that letter, your child's recommendation is going to be put for their math course. This math matrix is also going to be there. And looking at this math matrix, the majority of kids will end up taking grade 9 standard class, which are the green dots. There'll be 1 class of core and a class or 2 of the extended group as well. And as you go to grade 10, you see there's a little bit of movement, but for the most part, kids stay in the same class that there are. But I can't stress enough that there is always movement of children, either up or down through different courses. This year's is no different. We've had 1 or 2 kids move around. And that's one of the strengths of our course, is that we consistently are trying to put kids in the best fit class available. There's not tons of movement because we do a good job of it. We find the best fit for kids right off the bat. And so they do find themselves being in the class that they're comfortable in, that they're gaining confidence, and they're learning a lot of mathematics. And if you go all the way through the IB, our courses are all designed so that kids will have an IB course that is appropriate for them and that they will be successful in. And you can see kind of the way the dots are all aligned where the courses are and where the kids end up. But it's quite a rigorous program for kids, and it's really designed to help kids find their confidence, be the best fit, and to consistently every day challenge them. And as I said, on Friday, at I think about 4 o'clock, there'll be a letter put out with the recommendation of your teacher. And the teachers have been doing this they've taught literally thousands of students. They have a really good sense of what these courses are, what your children can do. And so they've considered it quite carefully on what they think their best course is. We do recognize that this year is an extra challenging year, and they've taken that into consideration. But we do know we're going to have conversations at times about the courses, and we're excited overall about having kids come to grade 9 math.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Rops. And again, any questions about math, that's the guy you want to talk to. And you could reach out even after this meeting. And with that, I think we're ready for Mr. Bradshaw and to talk about our laptop program. Mr. Bradshaw.
Hi, everyone. For those I haven't met, my name's Sheldon Bradshaw. I'm the Director of Technology here at the school, and I just want to give you a little bit of an update about the laptop program in our upper school. The Petar Marish laptop program was started about 13 years ago, and it's a bring your own device program in the upper school. So that's the big change from the middle school. Grade 8 and below, we provide the technology. Grade 9 and above, the parents provide the technology. So, Mr. Arcolino, if you could move to the next slide. This is it in a nutshell. So families are responsible for providing their own Apple laptop. The main reason for this is twofold. One is as the students get older, it's giving them their own device, develop more of those responsibility habits and things like that. So they're used to having their own device and what that means by the time they get off to university. This is old hat for them. The other part is that given the workload and summers and things like that, as students are developing their own interests, having their own device just makes things an awful lot easier for families. So if you move to the next slide, please. Here's the most important points about this. It has to be a computer, not an iPad. It has to be an Apple laptop. Anything in the Apple lineup is fine. So it does not have to be brand new. We do have some families that choose to send an older laptop that they already have at home or to buy a used one for grade 9 and 10, and then buy something new when the students get into grade 11 or 12, when things become a little more high stakes. There are people who buy a brand new one in grade 9, and that lasts all the way through. Anything that Apple offers on their website will get you through grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. So if you have a student who tries to upsell you on the latest and greatest, highest spec model that's out there, you can absolutely do that, but it's certainly not a requirement of the program. The base model is actually what we give all of our teachers. So that's a home discussion. The one thing I do have to say, particularly with all the restrictions right now, don't wait if you're going to buy it locally. In the Czech Republic, to get an English keyboard can take up to 6 weeks. And so if you wait until August, you will not have a computer for the start of school. So next slide, please. So about the keyboards, you can go into a number of shops and buy an Apple laptop in Prague right now, but they all have the Czech keyboard. It is substantially different to the English International Keyboard. If you are a Czech native speaker, that's absolutely fine. If you are not a Czech native speaker, get the English keyboard. And we'll give you some links to that in just a second. Any software that you need, we will provide. So for upper school, that's the Office suite. There's some math software, there's some science software, there's the Adobe Creative Suite if that's needed for classes. So all you need is the device. Everything else we provide. Next slide, please. So where to buy this laptop if you don't already have one at home? You can buy it anywhere. The only people who make Apple products are Apple. And so it doesn't matter where you get it, it'll be the same device. We do offer a link to 24u.cz, which is our school, is where we buy all of our devices from, and they offer a small discount. The big issue with Apple is, since they're the only ones that make it, prices are fairly consistent around the world. Where you save money is in the VAT. In the Czech Republic, it's 21% VAT. If you happen to be going back to, say, one of the states in the US over the summer where they have a sales tax holiday, that could save you 21% off of the cost. And no one locally can beat that. So take a look around at what your travel plans are. And if you are traveling to a low sales tax country or state, you might want to take a look at buying it there. Otherwise, 24U will be the best prices in town. It's about a 4 or 5% discount off of list prices. Next slide, please. The other thing is taking a look at protection. If you buy the computer in the EU, there's an automatic 2-year warranty. It's only a 1-year warranty in North America. So consider your extended warranty if you do buy it outside of Europe. The other thing is, just because the students get a little more responsible as they move into the upper school does not mean that accidents don't happen. If you have home insurance, renter's insurance, content insurance, or sometimes even your car insurance, investigate getting that computer put onto your insurance. That's what we've done, and it costs us about €25 a year. But what that means is that if that laptop is destroyed or stolen, it will be replaced. So take a look at insurance because accidents still do happen. Next slide, please. So here's my email address. This will come out in the show as well. And sometime within about the next 3 weeks, we'll be sending you out some information from 2ForU with ISP pricing on it. Again, there's no pressure to buy there. You can buy from anywhere, but they do give good support and they are local in Prague. So that's something else that can factor into your decision. If you want a little bit more support in talking through what your options are, feel free to reach out to me or to Dr. Perry, our upper school technology coach, and we're happy to talk through the different options with you to make sure that you get something that's the best fit for your family. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And now for our outstanding activities program, I'll invite Mr. Monks to talk a little bit. Mr. Monks.
Hi there. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see some familiar faces and names here. Now I'm going to start. I don't want to upset any of the teachers that are here, but I'm probably going to. If you ask a student that's graduated from ISP, their most memorable, their most favorite part of the upper school, and they'll probably tell you it's a Week Without Walls program. The Week Without Walls program, it's a 5 days program that involves learning experiences outside of the classroom, and we offer a whole range of experiences and making the most of the local and the regional resources that are around us. In the past, we've offered things like London Page to Page to Stage, Arts of Prague, hiking in the Dolomites, Cook Like a Chef, scuba diving in Italy. So just sort of listing those, you can see why the excitement is there for the students. This usually runs in the fall, so it's normally a week and a half back at school. Then we're jetting off to these different destinations of walking or taking part in the local ones. It's probable that we'll push this later on in the calendar because we want to have the students to have a full experience. Who knows what it's going to be like traveling in the fall of the start of the year. But essentially, these programs, the students will opt in to something which they find interesting, and they'll be participating in that program for 5 days for the week with other students from the high school. If you can pop onto the next slide, please. Okay, so the activities programs we offer in the upper school, similar to the middle school, but you'll find in some areas there's a lot more. In terms of the athletics and the sports, it's very similar. We have the 3 seasons. In the upper school, we have the cross-country, football, volleyball, winter basketball and swimming, and spring is softball and tennis. The only difference with the upper school programs with these sports is that the students will take part in 3 times a week. So as opposed to the Tuesday and Thursday, it will go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On top of the athletics programs, we offer a whole variety of other activities. And if you're going to pop to the next slide, please. Be it arts activities, service opportunities, societies, leadership programs, science. So I'm going to, this slide that you've got here, this is actually we had an activities fair just a couple of days ago. And what happens in the upper school, students tend to take on a lot more leadership, and a number of these programs here are run by the students. There's some great service opportunities there. A whole variety of things. You'll see, I mean, some of you may know Dungeons and Dragons, we've got Dungeons and Dragons Club there. So essentially what we offered in middle school, but there's quite a bit more on top of that, and plenty of opportunity for students to take leadership roles in these activities. We really, really do. Oh, are you getting rid of me? Okay, we're back. Okay. We really, really do encourage students to give things a try. Give things a try you might not be comfortable with, something a little different perhaps as a taster. And, you know, I think back to what was on offer for me when I was at school, and I think it was rugby or rugby. And so there wasn't a lot of choices. There's so many options here. And I think having the year that we've had, it makes us appreciate all the things that we could be doing. So if there's something you want to try, give it a go. Okay. So that's it. And I'll stick around to the end if there's any specific questions about this. And I get the hint, Miss Ercolino, you can move on now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Monks. Appreciate that. And I think we're back to Miss Eishen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Eishen. I'm the other new upper school counselor. So students M through Z are with me. I look forward to meeting you all and working with you. Since I got to listen to the full presentation, I'm going to add a couple of my own tips. What Mr. Monks just said is really important information about getting involved and trying different things. From my counselor point of view, you learn a lot of skills outside of the classroom that you get to use in those after school activities, and the leadership that he mentioned is so important. And usually what students say when they're seniors and we're working on university stuff is they wish they would have gotten involved sooner and done more, because things just get busier. And the same thing happens with university. Is university says, get involved quick, right away, just jump right in, because you never know what's going to come up and what passions you'll find and skills that you'll thrive. So I really like what Mr. Monk said. And it links to a lot of university applications and just exploring your own interests and skill set. And I'm very jealous of the Week Without Walls. I haven't experienced yet either. So I really hope we're all together next year experiencing Week Without Walls together for our first time. That's something I'm really looking forward to. So we'll keep that as something to look forward to. So parents, how can you help? I'm sure, you know, this is a transition as well for parents and students of moving into the upper school experience. And one of the things that I think is really important is staying involved. Both Ms. Manfredi and I have, you know, been working with high school students, upper school students for a long time. And it tends to, as the years progress in education, the parents kind of break away, of course, because there's a natural breaking away with the relationship of as students become young adults. But we need you as partners. So we say, stay involved and get to know that we are all here to be partners working and supporting the student through the transition. They can be messy at first, so know that you can reach out to us at any time. As we begin working together, we have an online calendar system that's really easy to navigate, to have just even little check-ins. So staying involved in supporting your student, there's a couple ways in which, you know, that can really make an impact, and it may not be such a rocket science information, but it's just really supporting your student to be involved in those after school activities. I know it can sometimes feel like maybe a nag, but just drop the hint, and you never know that they might come into school the next day and talk to us about, hey, what about that robotics club? It might be interesting and I want to try that. Or I'd like to explore another class change or something like that. You know, students are constantly going to need help in organizing and homework. And as adults, we have to learn how to organize ourselves. So just modeling that behavior, talking about how to work on time management and homework as the workload gets a little bit more intense can be useful, and just sharing and modeling those skills. The managing of the time, you know, that's going to be as more activities come and as more homework comes, that's going to be an area that students will work on. We will be working, as Ms. Manfredi said, with students on that as well as their teachers. But it is something that, you know, you can support at home, as I'm sure you're doing already, especially during this time that we're all in. And then this supporting adequate sleep cycle, I think, is really important. Sometimes when students, you're going to see them get busier and busier and wonder how they're managing their workload, and really feeding them, making sure they have clean clothes, and making sure they get sleep can be really half the battle of showing a great amount of support that they need. As I kind of mentioned, communication lines open, both with us as well as your students. A lot of times bargaining can happen, especially in middle school, but less bargaining and offering alternatives and choice can really make an impact as students are learning how to take on more responsibilities. accentuating the positive, especially as we move, into a more normal in-person school year, about as they transition, accentuating all the positives that you see, even beyond those academics. When you see maybe some kind behavior or initiative a student is taking. Explaining your decisions, your opinion, and your rules can really create kind of a shared commonship between your student and you and your family, especially as they start to build their own life outside of maybe what you've been used to. Showing an affection and forgiveness, setting those clear limits, being firm but fair. We're really, I think that both Ms. Manfredi and I share a value of encouraging and empowering the students, as well as helping them define their future and work towards that from grades 9 through 12. And so really supporting us in that as they build their future and not really focus on the past, because there's lots of opportunities for those students to have a fresh, clear slate through their next 4 years. Respecting their privacy and need for independence as they grow, and really building a supportive network of parents around you that you trust and have shared values, because there will be lots of new things coming up, and creating that support for yourself as well can be useful, and as well as, being partners with us through the process. So some next steps. Dr. Sturm, did you want me to go through this one?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay. So next steps, we have a wonderful elective expo, which will be presented to students and advisory. That's going to help them choose their elective courses, which are really, we have some great options. When I first came to ISP, I was just really impressed with the opportunity students have to explore a variety of topics in their electives. As we discussed, those language and math courses are pretty important and need teacher input. So you will be hearing from the teachers from languages and math about the placement that is the best fit for the student. And then you'll be receiving a Google form that you kind of saw a peek of, that you'll have to sit down and complete and submit by March 25th. And if you have any questions along the way, our emails are here from both Ms. Manfredi and I. If you have questions about selection or anything that you need in regards to completing the form or the courses.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Eischen. And just to follow up, everyone will be receiving an email first thing in the morning. I think we'll send it out with a lot of the details that we talked about here, including that Google form, and as well as a link to this presentation. We will be here for you. As Ms. Eischen said, we're here to answer your questions. I'm not seeing a lot of questions in the chat right now. That's okay. If you think of anything for any one of us, whether it's in activities or whether technology, maybe it's a question about, you're worried about college right now. Whatever it is, we're here to answer those questions. This is a process. We're not expecting you to take all this in tonight, but I think it's an important message that you hear, that is that to get involved, that the upper school is all about the opportunities that are in front of you, the leadership that you can demonstrate. We're here to share in your ideas and to put ideas forward as students, and it's really an exciting time. And we want to support both you as parents and students throughout this whole process. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Anyone have any questions, they could just put it in the chat, but if not, thank you everyone and have a great evening. All right. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.